Good day. Welcome to Inversiones Brain Group in Architects Economic. Today we'll be working the marginal rate substitution. The marginal rate of substitution, a further important property, concerns the rate at which a consumer is willing to substitute one good for another along an indifference curve. The marginal rate of substitution of a consumer between goods X and Y in the units of Y the consumer is willing to substitution to obtain one more unit of X. Now, class 5 microeconomic study, the marginal rate of substitution, education online. The marginal rate of substitution, the slope of an indifference curve. We got y on the y-axis and got x on the x-axis is given by derivate got y divided derivate got x, where u is constant. The marginal rate of substitution in the absolute value of the slope is MRS got xj equal marginal rate utility got x divided marginal rate substitution utility got j. Typically, preferences have the following property. Consider a point where a lot of j and very little x is being consumed. Starting from any such point, a consumer is willing to give up a lot of J in exchange for another unit of X, while retaining the same level of utility as before. As we keep adding units of X and reducing J while keeping utility constant. Consumers are willing to give up less and less of J in return for a further unit of X. One way to interpret this that people typically have a taste for variety and want to avoid extremes. This implies that MRS falls along an indifference curve. The property is referred to as indifference curve being convex to the origin in some textbooks. The words as visual description, but you should be aware that in terms of mathematics this is not a manifold description. There is no mathematical concept where something is convex relative to something else. The correct idea of convex indifferent curves is as follows. Now, considering any indifference curve yielding utility level u constant. Consider the set of all points that yield utility u constant or more. This is the set of all points on an indifference curve plus all points above. Can this set be diminishing MRS implies that B is convex set. In this figure, below shows a convex indifference curve. Note that set B part of which is shaded, is a convex set. Try taking any 2 points in B and making a convex combination. You will find that the combinations are always inside B. The indifference curves. Once we can represent preference using a continuous utility functions. We can draw indifference curves, and indifference curve is the locus of different boundaries of gaps that yield the same level of utility. In other words, an indifference curve for utility function is given by utility function equal k, where k is some constant. As we vary k, we can trace out the indifference map. Note that an indifference curve is simply a level curve of a utility function. Just as you draw contour of the map to represent, say, a mountain, so indifference curve drawn for two goods are contour plots of a utility function over these two goods. Okay, thank you very much for follow me in this channel, Architect Economic. Until a new video. Bye bye.